What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here in the channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by My Music. Since we don't do any sponsorships on the channel, I'll go ahead and shill that out. It is available under the name Aftersound anywhere you listen to or stream your songs. So let me know what you think if you check it out, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, let's talk about the Hall of Legends promo because we are just shy of being 24 hours into this. And you can see, if we go to the leaderboard, that this thing is somewhat underperforming. Now, granted, there's still another 13 days, and I do think that there's generally a rush in the beginning, and there's generally a rush at the end. And if the cards are, if nothing crazy happens between now and, maybe a day before this ends, I do think that we can see significantly more purchases. And the reason for that is because this is it, right? And let me actually go over here and show you how many have actually been printed for the legendary, right? So 559, like that's tiny. And this is single BCX that are printed. Right. I don't know if they're like Zerial, for example, which was a massive underperformer, was almost 5,000. Mantaroth was, over 5,000. Even Chain Golem, going that far back, was over 5,000. So can I see if this ends up, staying relatively low? Can I see either people deciding that, this is a relatively scarce card. Let me go ahead and just grab it while it's here and available, so I don't have to worry about, scarcity later. Or you might get, some of these people who are chasing leaderboard prizes to go and purchase extra and essentially, speculate on the future, because the cards, I know they're not spectacular, but they do still impact the meta, right? There's a new ability in play for the rare card, which gives you that rear cleanse, and you get that at level 1. So I can see many people, including myself, going and just grabbing at least one of them. And then a 0 mana neutral card is always going to be meta, right? It's always going to be powerful despite whatever, other abilities it might have. So in that way, I think that we can potentially see more. But let's actually break down the numbers here. We have sold or spent, right, 42 million DEC in total. Now, for context, this event is something that spans across 5 different mini phases, right? Or yeah, let's call it that. That's what they're calling it. 5 different phases, of which the entire event we paid the team 600 million DEC. Now, here's the thing: in order to break even, we would need to do 120 million DEC per phase, and right now we're only tracking to 1/3 of the way there. But more importantly, when this event was sold to us, Matt was saying that, yeah, we're going to spend 600 million, but based on previous promo card sales, we can probably do $1 billion or lock up $1 billion or more DEC, which would mean that we were looking at 200 million DEC getting spent per phase on average, right? On average. And I'm going to get to that in a second. So at this point, we're very much tracking, well below. We're only at 33% of where we need to break even. We're only at 20% of where the average needs to be in order for us to hit that kind of benchmark that, Matt had been talking about. So you can look at this and, you can blame the cards and say maybe they're not meta, maybe they're not as good, right? And if you go back to my conversation with Azurkon just a couple of days ago, Azurkon was saying that these aren't game-breaking cards, and these all need to be game-breaking cards. Again, I'm a little hesitant about that just because of the scarcity factor with this and, the availability. I understand for many players who don't have deeper pockets. I get it, right? It's tough, and the ability to compete is severely restricted if these cards end up being too far part of the meta. So I would say, this is a weird instance of the cards are meta enough, but they're not game breaking, meaning that they actually struck a decent balance with them. But maybe the pricing is off. I don't know, right? Maybe the pricing is off, or maybe they're just not as highly desirable. People don't need them, or maybe the audience, right? Maybe the customer base is just not, we're just not incentivized, or we're in a holding pattern and not wanting to spend. I think it's a combination of a lot of different things. So where do we go from here? I see 2 potential paths. Okay. The first of which, and I would love to get the feedback from the team. I don't know if we're going to have a town hall this month with Matt traveling, but I would love to get some feedback from the team based on how this goes. Okay, awesome. It looks like we have a battle going on. So I would love to get some feedback from the team on this and see what their perspective is, especially as we get closer to the end of this. If it doesn't end up picking up, or is heavily trailing the 120 million to break even. But the two phases that I can see, or the two paths that I can see. The first of which, the team, takes this as hey, the community voted with their wallet. We should probably adjust the pricing, right? We should probably adjust the pricing, and we should see where the community would like these cards to be priced at so that we can move more of them and essentially lock up more DEC. The other way is that they make the cards banger, right? They make the cards so freaking good. And there's a risk there, right? As I talked about earlier, there's a risk there because all of a sudden, if these cards are like must-have cards, there is a potential for many people to feel like they need to buy it rather than they want to buy it. And while they end up buying it, you could further, damage like morale around the situation. Now, those are the two potential paths that I see. Again, it could be more. It could be way more nuanced than that. And also keep in mind that this is running for 5 months. We're in September right now. The final part of the sale, I think, is supposed to go either at the end of the year or early January at this point. All right. So I would say that there is plenty of time for us to make it up. And what I mean by that, I was talking about averages earlier, where if the team decided, hey, you know what, we don't necessarily need to lower the prices, let's just make better cards, right? And we're going to make up for it on the back end, right? We only sell maybe like 50 million on this one, but the next one comes in and we sell 400 million because the cards are just that good, or it's just something that's needed, or it's, maybe they change the price, right? And again, it could be either of those things, where all of a sudden this phase underperforming ends up being a a nothing burger, or irrelevant in the grand scheme of things. So I don't want to get too reactive here. Again, I am covering this, but I don't want to say like, oh, okay, this whole event is a failure. I don't think that at all. And in fact, I do believe that towards the end of this, we will see a little bit more action and activity. Now, granted, we're only 24 hours in, so this is a very early reaction to this. But at the end of the day, I think we are still going to be okay in the long run. And as I was saying earlier, I'll close out with this. The reason I brought up the fact that this is going on so long is if you've been following this channel, if you've been following crypto, I think most people are excited. Excuse me. I think most people are excited about Q4 and what could potentially be coming down the pipeline for crypto. And if Bitcoin starts to take off, if the market starts to do and look a lot better, I think you'll see a lot of people coming in and potentially taking profits and bringing that here into the game, into DEC, into SPS, and of course, cards, which are currently available. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm curious to see how people are feeling about this so far. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.